Hi, my relatives. Welcome back to another episode of Our Storytellers, brought to you by our friends and family at the Indigenous Green Office. On today's episode, we're joined by Latash Nahanee. If you're a returning listener to the podcast, you might have listened to Delia Nahanee's podcast 2 weeks ago. This is her husband's story. And Latash grew up in Asahan, and he has an amazing story. You know, one of my favorite parts about sitting down with Latash was learning about his experience and mentorship from Blanche Macdonald, who was a Métis entrepreneur who started some successful businesses out here, and he was mentored when he was the CEO of Kahtou News. His experience and his work and how he balanced the two worlds between the Longhouse and working in a regular corporate environment, I guess, is so interesting. He also talks about just the regular family stories, you know, what it was like growing up with a basket weaver mother and what he remembers about his mother and his early life. And this is an amazing podcast. I just highly recommend you listen to the whole thing. Please subscribe, like all of our stuff on Instagram, that whole shebang. But without further ado, please welcome to the Our Storytellers podcast, Latash Nahanee.
Hello, my relatives. How are you? Here at Our Storytellers, we care about your spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical well-being, which is why we want to inform you that this podcast discusses topics that may cause trauma to listeners and viewers. These subjects include mentions of Indian residential schools, assimilation, ongoing harm, colonial impacts, and much more. Our Storytellers recognizes the need to minimize risks associated with traumatic subject matter. The Hope for Wellness Helpline offers immediate help to all Indigenous people across Canada. It is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to offer immediate support and crisis intervention. Services are available in English and French, and in Nehiyaw, Anishinaabe and Inuktitut upon request. If you or someone you know are experiencing any harm, no matter how big or small it's perceived to be, you can call the toll-free helpline at 1-855-242-3310 or connect to the online chat at www.hopeforwellness.ca. Kinanaskaman, I'm grateful for you. Your ancestors are always with you. All my relations, Riel.
In their line, there's a Lackett Joe, which is our grandpa, your dad, married Margaret.
Yeah.
And that ties us in through that line. And then later on it comes through and it ties us through with the Thomases in Tsleil-Waututh.
Yeah.
So there were, you know, the beautiful thing about some of these conversations is finding these really great little jewels that tell us just exactly how close our families are really related here and how tied we are together, because they come back together several times through our lines of genealogy.
And we have pretty important connections like Castellanos.
Yes, absolutely.
Our close relatives. So one of the chiefs had died and they were looking for someone to replace him on the band council.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the chiefs like Castellano and Capilano, they said, well, Lawrence should be on the council. There was no election there. There should have been an election.
Yeah.
But they want Lorne Haney to sit on that council.
By appointment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how he was appointed in.
Yeah.
And he sat for years on council.
Yeah, he was actually appointed for life. So,
there you go.
So yeah. There were no elections for a long time in our community. It was all appointments by life.
Yeah, and the superintendent of Indian Affairs sat as the chair for quite a long time. A number of decades.
Yeah, during that period was probably one of our worst periods in history. When we took it over ourselves and things got a lot better.
So when do you think it changed and shifted to our own people taking it over?
My dad was appointed in late 1950s, anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then got a lot more independent after that. Because why I say that is that Park Royal Enterprises
Yeah.
wanted to lease some land for us, and the Indian agent came over and told our band council, said this company, Park Royal, wants to lease some land. They want to offer you $100,000 a year for that. And she said, that's a great deal. That's the best deal you're ever going to get. So they're trying to be a salesman and that.
Yeah.
And well, the council, I said, yeah, sounds good to us. Well, we had no idea what real estate was worth.
Yeah.
But my dad said, well, how about $1 million a year? And Park Royal agent said, deal.
Wow.
So it's probably worth a lot more.
Absolutely. They just renegotiated too, I believe, didn't they? Not that long ago.
Yeah.
For that.
I think we
again.
make over $100 million a year now. Yeah. We actually don't need any money from the Department of Indian Affairs,
I think a lot
but
of
we'll
it.
take it.
Yeah. Well, of course. I mean, there's certain things, right? Like some of the education still comes from there. Some small percentage of housing.
Yeah.
And some other programs that have some kind of marginal things. But I think more than large percentage of our budget is from own source revenue.
Yeah,
right?
we have to top up almost every program.
Yeah, they do. Right. They top it up.
Yeah.
I think that's what happens.
We top it up, Squamish Nation does.
Yeah, to make it bigger, right? So more manageable. Because they make our education programs better because of what they do, for sure.
Everything is so expensive nowadays.
Yeah.
Education is pretty expensive.
Yeah, it's probably one of our big ticket items,
Yeah.
but one of the most valuable ones, I think.
But we should, more of our youth should be going to university. Or any kind of trade too.
Anything to,
Yeah,
as long as they educate themselves up.
sure.
I think our trade programs are pretty big now. They've started to really expand a lot.
Yeah.
They were talking about, one of the gals that came was talking about women in trades. And there's been some really big push to, improve that especially up in the upper Squamish Valley.
Yeah, it's like Indian Affairs really pushed education because it colonizes people. Trades are better because, well, you go, you do your job, and that's
right.
it. I think it's a good route for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
Trade, for sure.
Yeah, I got, we got one boy in trades,
You got two.
Tyler. Yeah,
Brandon.
I guess trades, culinary arts is a trade, considered a trade.
It's a red
right?
seal trade.
It's a red seal trade, yeah, absolutely. So half our kids are in trades. The other
Awesome.
half have gone university and other routes. So
My grandson's in acting school right now.
yeah, he's just hit graduation, right?
He's 21 now.
Yeah. So I didn't think it was that long ago he graduated.
It's almost a year into
Yeah.
film school.
Oh, did you go to Vancouver Film School
Maybe
Yeah.
Capilano.
or
Film School.
Capilano?
I think Vancouver.
Yeah. It's the same one Tasha went to. I think she did 2 years there.
Cool.
Well, if I need an actor, I'll be sure. Got all these cameras now. Latash, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. My name is Riel. I'm Métis from Nahia and Soto background, and I joined the family here when I was 10 years old. You heard this in Delia's podcast, but
Yep. Yeah.
I'm super grateful to have you here. I have a blanket here for you, some tobacco here for you, and an honorarium here for you that's provided by our partners at the Indigenous Screen Office, which we're so grateful to have to bring these podcasts to life. And
when we got the grant, it only felt right that it would go back to the people who raised me for the past 6-7 years here. So I'm going to pass this over to you, and in your own way, please introduce yourself.
Pass to you.
Awesome.
Okay.
Вычка. Can I just put this down here?
Yeah.
Osiyam, Tanoya, Tanoan, Siam, and Siaya, Siyoyakwa, Tlachit Nomen, Onhot, and Squalwin, Nath the Uns, Latash Shaman, Tanalachan Osahan, Ochmeo. Hello, my name is Latash Maurice Nahanee. I am from the Squamish Nation, from the village of Oslahan. My pleasure to be with you today.
Thank you. Yeah, could you tell us a little bit about, could you tell us a little bit about what it was like growing up?
I think that in a lot of ways we were so colonized growing up. The federal government enclosed us on a small piece of land, which is now in North Vancouver. It's actually our village of Oslahan. We were really, I call it being attacked by the Roman Catholic Church. They just forced us to go to church. They threatened us with going to some evil place called hell. And we had to be very obedient. Things were very strict. It's the early years. The teachers were pretty harsh on us. It's much different than the education system today, where I would say that teachers are more respectful of children in schools nowadays than they were back when I went to school. And for me, I practically hated every minute that I was there. But I did like learning, because from a very early age, from a very young age, my dad would read to me, and my mother would read to me, or they would encourage me to read to them, and so that I would, develop some speaking skills. And I give more of my credit to my parents for my education than my early teachers. We didn't have our language. It was never spoken in our house, and very, very seldom that I would hear Squamish language spoken in my class, unless an older uncle of our family would come and visit us and say something to my parents that he didn't want us to understand. So probably some kind of a joke or something. They kind of just speak their language, look at me, and then turn away and laugh. Yeah. But I really got curious about our language. And wow, it's such a more friendly way that these adults are speaking to me than the teachers were. And I was a nosy little kid, so my uncles would talk to me, my aunts would talk to me. But for the most part, it was a very strict Catholic upbringing that I was with. But one night, my parents went out in the fall time, and I could hear all this drumming. I could hear the drums. And it was because my Auntie Vi and her husband Arnold, they built a longhouse on their property next door to us. So the drumming was quite loud, and it was just like a blanket for me. I said, wow, what is that? And I had to go down there. My auntie and uncle were always very kind to me, and they were close to my parents, except on spiritual matters. And so I went down there because I was curious and wanted to see what was going on at Auntie's house. And I saw all these people sitting around on these bleachers, and their faces were painted black or they were painted red. And I've never seen our people dressed like they were before. It was totally different. Their way of singing was a lot different than what I was used to church hymns at the time.
Yeah.
And when I heard that, I said, wow. I said, what's going on here? What is this? And my auntie just told me, sit down and don't say anything for now.
Yeah.
You can talk later when they're finished their ceremony. And so I really love my auntie, so I listened to her. She didn't have to raise her voice or be strict with me, to just listen and be quiet for now. And I did, and I had to keep going back night after night, and just getting immersed in our culture. And it was the first time that I'd heard a lot of our language being spoken. Some of the older members of our tribe, they would get up and make a speech, and it just seemed to go on and on forever. One speaker after another. And then sometimes they would just say something. And for you young people, I will share that what your uncle had said to you tonight was to be very careful in how you treat other people. Be careful with your words in what you say to other. Those hurtful words will last a long time within their squall and their spirit. So be careful what you say. So there were a lot of lessons being given to us every night, very, very profound stuff. And I said, wow. It was almost irresistible, is the way I would put it. It was so compelling. There just so much love in their voice, so much caring. Listen, my son, we want you to be very careful in how you walk through life. They're very important that you don't offend other people, don't hurt them. And I thought that was really beautiful. Instead of getting a strap for not paying attention in class, never once did I get hit by my elders. Never once, barely raised her voice. Said, listen, son, just be careful. We're advising you. Be careful with your words. Be careful with your actions. So that really intrigued me. It seems like a good way to walk through life to me. You don't have to be offensive. You don't have to be a bully to anybody. Instead, have a good heart towards other people.
Did you ever tell your parents about those experiences you were having at the Longhouse?
I did once at dinner, and I was saying, wow, I went to the Longhouse. I'll say it was so awesome to see everybody dancing and the black faces. And my dad just got outraged. Wow. Don't ever go there again. Don't ever speak about it. Don't learn about this. This is not for you. And of course, I snuck away the next night and went right back there.
How old were you when you first went?
13 years old. Yeah. And a lot of my cousins my age were going to the Longhouse too. So I could go and sit with them and I could ask them questions. What's going on? What are they doing now? And yeah, they're very gentle with me. I learned so much. And
here, let's tuck this under your arm here
Oh.
quickly. So you're gonna
Sorry.
fly your no, my bad. I can just see your microphone going flying here any second here. So what were your parents like?
In a way, I would say they were really ambitious for their children. Like they went to residential school for a few years. They didn't get much out of that, but they did want a better life for their children. They didn't have opportunities, really. Like for example, my mother worked in a cannery, and my dad worked as a janitor, and there's nothing wrong with that type of work, but they say, well, you can do better. We think with an education that you'll have, opportunity. And I really bought into that I was going to school not to please the teachers. I was there to get ahead, get ahead. And
It's blowing away.
I was lucky that my older sister, Teresa, when she graduated from high school, she had the opportunity to go to a university called Notre Dame in Nelson, BC.
Oh, yeah.
And we spent, well, not holidays, but our holidays was driving with our dad to go to Nelson to pick her up and bring her home for the summer. That was part of our holiday. to make this long trek
Drive
to
up
get her.
and then drive her back.
Yeah. And she was one of my sisters that I was closest to. So I was just a real nosy kid asking her all sorts of questions. What is the university like? And what are you going to do there? What do you do? And it really intrigued me. So, well, I will go to university when I graduate from high school. And I'm the youngest of 10 children, and all of my brothers and sisters had graduated from high school. So it was just a path. And, okay, that's what you do is you get an education and you get a job, you get a career. So that was the path for me.
What was your mom like?
Oh, she was awesome. Because I'm the youngest of the family, in a lot of ways she spoiled me. And almost every weekend we went to a movie. The big thing was to go to Vancouver to the Granville Street, and all the theaters were there.
The theater,
And,
the Grand Theater, yeah. The 6 floors.
Yeah. She would take me to, we would go to the Hudson's Bay store where they had a restaurant, and we would go for lunch there. And then she would take me to a movie. She had a really good sense of humor. She loved jokes, but often she would forget them. So you'd tell me a joke and, Mom, what's the punchline? It was really funny. We would just have a laugh about that and enjoy our afternoon together. She was very hardworking. One thing that she did was she made traditional cedar root baskets. And every day I would see her sitting in her workspace in the home making baskets, and then she would sell them either to the public or friends that she'd know. And she would get a lot of orders for her baskets. And I see her do that every day, 7 days a week, without fail. It was something she loved to do, but she had a mission. She wanted to make money for her family. So she often, she was the one that would give me an allowance, for example. Okay, she had the money and the time to do it. And when my father died when I was in grade 12, she really dedicated a lot of time to me. She was there every day for me to get up and go to university, cook all of our meals every day for us. And we actually had a farm when my father had died. We had a pretty good farm for growing vegetables, growing meat animals like cows and pigs and chickens and that. And then when I went to university, though, I said, Mom, this stuff is really hard. I can't manage a farm and, take care of you. I can take care of you, but I can't handle being a farmer.
Mm-hmm.
As well.
Yeah. But she was just awesome. We spent good quality time together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really, besides being with her, she would take me to different relatives and introduce me to them so that, I would learn a lot more as well. And when my auntie opened up a Longhouse, her and my mom were very close friends. So it was, it was really easy for me to be in a Longhouse. They took care of me. But they were a little bit nervous because they knew my parents didn't like the cultural ways, the Longhouse ways. And
They didn't want to offend them.
Yeah, they didn't want to hurt my family because they're so close and very loving family to one another.
Yeah.
And that's what I grew up witnessing, was that love and respect for each other.
Mm.
What what was like the home environment like with the 10 brothers and sisters because you were the youngest? Like,
Well, I had to do all the work.
Did you ever go like harvesting with your mom or anything like that?
Oh yeah, for sure. I go help her with harvesting the cedar roots. I went hunting with my dad and my brothers. So we actually used to hunt ducks on our Lionsgate Bridge. And,
Really?
Yeah.
and from the north side of the inlet, the ducks generally lived in Stanley Park. And so they were a little bit bigger than the wild ducks. And because they were fed very well by the park.
In the park, nice and fat.
Yeah. Yeah, so
So what? Oh yeah, go for it.
my dad was a real handyman, a good carpenter, a good car mechanic, good gardener. I learned a lot from him. Whatever he was doing, then I had to do as well. But, I appreciate it though. Okay, he wants me to learn how to be a mechanic for a car. Okay, well, it's probably going to come in handy. Learn how to raise animals. Well, that's going to feed me, for one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And did a lot of carpentry. I helped out with that. I learned a lot from my parents. I'm really just grateful to them.
Mm-hmm. What was your least favorite farm chore?
Probably getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and feeding the animal.
What? You're not the early riser in the family?
Oh, just the least favorite thing.
Yeah.
But I actually enjoy getting up early because that's the time we got up to go hunting too.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah. Daybreak before.
What school did you go to?
I went to St. Paul's Indian Day School for elementary school for grades 1 to 7. Then St. Thomas Aquinas until grade 10. I did 2 years there. And by grade 10, I was just sick of the Catholics. I just wanted to get out of here.
Had enough of you.
You're so close-minded,
Yeah.
And you knew that then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Very limited.
Yeah.
And because my dad would take me to meetings with lawyers, for example, he was in a leadership role with the community. And one of his jobs was to negotiate with lawyers on behalf of our community. So, I was used to adult people talking about adult stuff instead of saying, you got to learn how to pray. I said, wow, that's really close. What is that going to do me through life? But then, so I went to Carson Graham, a public school in North Vancouver. I just thought, wow, this is really great. It's like really smart people talking about smart stuff. And this will get me to university. I knew it was a stepping stone to get there. I just got to get through this phase of life as fast and least harm to me as I can. But having said that, I remember practically all of my teachers from grade 1, Mrs. Lee, and grade 2 and 3, Mrs. Lindholm, and Mr. Kovacs, all the way through high school.
Who was your favorite out of all of them?
Well, in grade 6, we had Mr. Kovacs. He was probably right off the ship from Hungary. And it's a really heavy accent. Teaching us social studies, for example. Sometimes I could hardly understand him. Very heavy accent. But he's very enthusiastic.
Yeah.
And he was also our music teacher. And, we'd go to our music classes. And sometimes to warm up, he would play rock and roll. It was really cool. He was just really into his music. And, wow, that's so awesome. That's a good way to be through life. Be enthusiastic about what would you enjoy, what you become passionate about. Be that way. You'll get a lot out of it. So I really enjoyed it. Another period though of my elementary school years was grade 6, and a film company came to our school. So we're looking for Indigenous students to be in a movie that we're filming, and so I was chosen as one of those that got to leave school. I think I had good marks at the time.
Yeah.
So we got to get out of school.
Nice.
And the kids that were struggling, they didn't get to go with us. But that was really cool being in a movie, though.
What did you do for fun as a kid? Like, what was your most fun thing that?
Well, we lived close to our cousins. It didn't take much to get a baseball game going, or football or soccer. So I just enjoyed hanging out with my friends, and just hanging out, being a kid and having fun with them, I guess.
Wrestling on the front lawn. I used to play worldwide wrestling.
Yeah.
And when you transitioned from St. Thomas, what was it, St. Thomas Aquinas?
Yeah, St. Thomas Aquinas.
To Carson Graham.
Yeah.
What was the transition like? You said you enjoyed it, that there were smart people there. Was there anything else, the transition?
Yeah, I just fit in.
You liked it?
A lot of my friends from St. Thomas Aquinas transitioned over to Carson Graham. So I already had a lot of friends when I got there.
Oh, perfect.
But I also made a lot of friends as well.
And then, like, as you're going through high school, are you still going to the Longhouse?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so all through high school.
Wow.
Through grade 12, I went to the Longhouse. The Longhouse actually goes probably 7 nights a week. And I probably went 4 or 5 nights a week. Just hang out with older cousins and relatives. And I like the teachings. They give you a good way of life, how to navigate through life. And, throughout the early part of high school, and there was a lot of bullying too. And I had to learn how to get through that part of life. And the Longhouse gave me some values. And you don't have to take to heart what other people say to you. Don't take on their words. That's their problem, not yours.
Mm-hmm.
So I just learned good ways of dealing with things.
So, do you remember did anyone talk about any family stories or anything like that growing up?
Well, we were a pretty close family. We did a lot of things together. Like my dad was a janitor at his school, and most of us ended up being to go to school and
Helpers?
help out with the the school chores, to clean the school and get it ready for the next day. There, we went commercial harvesting of strawberries and berries, and we worked as a team. We made money together, hunting and fishing.
Right.
Well, just a lot of family activities.
Family activities.
Yeah.
So after you graduate high school, what do you pursue at university?
Well, before I got to university, I went to live with my sister Teresa
Oh, okay.
in Ottawa. She had graduated from university, so she invited me to come out there for the summer, and she would get me a job. I worked for the civil service. I thought that, well, she transitioned right out of university to get a job in Ottawa. I just thought I would follow the same path. And at first, I didn't really care what I did in university. I just took every course that was available and that was suggested to me, and I did okay. I probably could have worked harder at it, but I didn't see how learning the history of Russia was going to benefit me for the rest of my life. So I don't need an A, I need a C plus to get through this.
Right.
So that's as hard as I worked. And but by my third year, I found that I really liked English literature. I said, well, this is interesting. I love it. I can do this. I get along with all my professors. And I think they're a little bit surprised. Well, why is this young Indian kid so interested in English literature? I just like storytelling. I like storytelling. So yeah, I thought, well, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then so I ended up majoring in English literature. I thought, well, this would prepare me for any number of careers.
Yeah.
I'll figure that out when I graduate.
Hey, my relatives, super quick pause in this episode of Our Storytellers just to let you know that this podcast is brought to you by our partners at the Indigenous Screen Office. The Indigenous Screen Office supports Indigenous narrative sovereignty through storytelling on screen. They provide grants to small podcasts like us to support our growth and to support the guests that we can have come on. Big thanks to them. Please check them out on Instagram. Please check out their website. You never know, there might be an opportunity for you on there, especially if you're creating content. Get out there and check them out. Thank you so much to our partners at the Indigenous Screen Office. Back to the podcast.
When I graduated, a newspaper had started up in British Columbia called Kahtou News, and they were looking for a journalist. So I decided to throw my hat in the ring. And the boss was actually a famous lady in Vancouver, and she was a Métis woman who was big in the fashion world. She would put on fashion shows. She would hire models to put on fashion shows. And she was a really good leader. I enjoyed meeting her. I heard about her. So, That was the only thing that made me nervous about the interview, was that she was such a famous, well accomplished. She was a millionaire by that time.
And what was her name?
Blanche Macdonald.
Yeah.
She was.
Oh, Blanche Macdonald's a Métis
Yeah.
lady.
She ran, Blanche Macdonald's modeling for so many years. She opened
Yeah.
up that whole studio and just everything blew up. So.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah. Blanche Macdonald Modeling School.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I want to look it up right now. That's why I'm resisting.
Yeah, you can look it up later, but Blanche Macdonald. So you tell us a little more.
Yeah, what
about
was
her.
she like? What made her a good leader? You said she was a good leader.
Like saying earlier that I thought she had a really good sense of humor, for one thing, and I felt really relaxed. Interview. She made me feel important, even though I was just trying out for the job.
Mm-hmm.
And but later on, a lot of chiefs and leaders would stop by the office, and they all knew her too, and they would come and visit her, and she'd always say, "Oh, and we're so lucky to have Morris Nahanee working with us. He's our best writer, and after we finish meeting, he's going to interview you." She made you feel really important, feel worthwhile, and she wanted to mentor. She was actually training me to be a manager for it. You don't have to be a reporter all your life. You can be a manager of this as well.
Really?
So she allowed me to take time off work to go to school and learn some management courses. So in a lot of ways, she really mentored. But I really learned by observing her a lot. How she was very supportive of other people. She was a millionaire, so she didn't need this job. She didn't need the money, but she wanted to do something good. This was her opportunity to pass on skills that she had learned through life, learned how to be a manager of other people. So she left the job at one point. Well, actually, she passed away. And so the board of directors was looking for a new CEO to take her place. And they asked me if I would take on the job. So based on what I learned from her, I took up the challenge to be the CEO for this organization.
I remember when he went to work for them and they started putting newspapers out, he was sending them to everybody in the family. So we'd get our newest Kahtou. He's like, "I'm doing this. Everybody gets my newspaper. You better read it." He was very enthusiastic.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it was an awesome time in Canadian history for Indigenous people. I thought, wow, this is pretty amazing what they're doing. And so I just wanted to share those stories with my family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Writing a newspaper back, like,
That's
so
what I
there's
mean.
no AI to generate anything. You have to go out and actually like find every single story, interview every single person, write that story,
Old-fashioned writing.
review that
Yeah.
story, publish that story. How often was a publication come out? Was it like once a month, every week,
Every 2 weeks.
every 2 weeks?
Yeah. It was pretty hectic pace.
That's intense.
Yeah.
That's intense. I can't imagine doing that. Like, that's like, I mean, I guess podcasting's kind of like that too, actually, now that I think about it. But
Well, you spend most of the time in the behind-the-scenes work doing all the layout. The actual finish thing is relatively short by comparison once you read through it, right?
Yeah, we did everything on the newspaper. I was a photographer and editor, writer of stories, manager.
wow.
I see. Chief
It was
cook and bottle
Pretty
washer.
intense. Pretty intense time of my life. You know, I'd leave early in the morning, 7:30, to go to work and get there before everyone else showed up. And, I'd leave there at 5 o'clock, go and have dinner and go back to the office.
Yeah.
Finish up.
I really enjoyed that.
You
I
really
enjoyed that
enjoyed that?
work. Yeah. Met a lot of interesting people. Yeah.
So you take the CEO job, then what happens? Like, you're just grinding all day. How big was your team?
Well, we had a staff of about 10 at one time. Writers, photographers. Yeah, we're lucky we had a dedicated photographers. So the reporters didn't have to do our own photography. She had a dark room at the office. It was fun managing things too. We got a grant, so it wasn't rocket science to budget for the month, but it all had to be an overseer like myself to manage the budget every month. And I think the best part was just meeting interesting people.
Like who?
Probably Graham Greene from actors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Different actors.
Tom Selleck.
Yeah, Tom Selleck came to our office.
That's pretty
Cool.
cool. Who's Tom Selleck?
Oh, he doesn't know who Tom Selleck is. So past before his time. Tom Selleck was Magnum PI. Driving a bougie car in Hawaii, being a private investigator. It's a very old series back in the I think it was the 70s, 80s.
70s, late 70s, yeah.
Yeah, and then eventually Tom Selleck came into what is today it's a cop series he's been on for a decade. It's been a really long running famous one, and
Really?
yeah, he's actually a very, very well-known actor. He's done many, many things. Of course, back in the day, he was quite handsome, so of course women would absolutely swoon over him. So,
So, as you're working as CEO of this newspaper,
Kahtou newspaper.
Kahtou newspaper, are you still going to ceremony too at the same time?
Oh yeah,
Always, your whole life.
yeah.
Oh,
I
wow.
really got hooked on it.
Yeah.
It just really intrigued me. Ceremony and the spirituality of it was very, very powerful. Like it's so intense. If you go to church, you'll hear people saying, "Our Father who art in heaven," blah blah blah. And in the Longhouse, the speakers would say, "O siyam, tanoyap, tano and siyam and siyaya, so yoyo kwa." Just I'm very concerned this evening. I have some good words to share for you. I have seen you in the community. You're not walking through this world in a good way.
Wow.
Some people have chosen the path that you have, and they have died from overdoses. They've died from addictions. They're in jail. But you can avoid that. You don't have to walk down that path. Find something you enjoy. Find something that you love to do, that you're passionate about.
Wow.
Uplift other people. Be careful with your words. Yeah, just really gentle, kind, meaningful words.
Would you say that throughout your life it's been a reason why you've been able to work so hard?
Oh, well, definitely. It made me compassionate.
Yeah.
Is another word. I've seen many people struggle, and I've heard people say harsh things to them. Saying, "You're no good. You can't do this. You're just a bum." And but I never heard my elders speak that way. Saying, "Your brother is having a hard time right now. Why don't you go help him?
Right.
Take care of him." So that way of life was attractive to me, to be compassionate for other people. And some people are not very good at teaching other people, like calling them stupid or you're dumb and you're lazy. And so, I was taught to say, well, you can do this. Just I want to show you how to build a house. These are some things that you need to do. And here's the skill that you need to do. You need to operate this saw. You need to use drills and screws to put things together. And most of all, you got to be careful. Always be cautious about what you do. Don't rush into things. Don't react to situations too quickly. Take your time. Figure it out. So, yeah, I just really learned good ways of teaching. So after I left the newspaper, I started working in a school, teaching Indigenous studies to students.
Is that out in Coquitlam?
Yeah. I don't know why I don't know how I heard about that job, but I said, well, how bad can it be? I'm CEO of a newspaper. But the funding ran out for that job in the newspaper.
Yeah.
So I had to find another job, and fast, because my children were very young and they would be starting school pretty soon. So I went in and applied for this job.
Hi, my relatives. If you're enjoying this podcast, or if you have any feedback on this podcast, please let us know, because we're always trying to get better at the same time. But especially if you're enjoying this podcast, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I think we have some really cool projects coming out that you might want to check out. Please follow us on Spotify. Share our reels as well too. That helps us out so much. And yeah, just check us out. Share the word. We're working really hard to keep this content coming for you. And the support helps us out so much. And we're so grateful. Thank you so much for listening. Back to the podcast.
So, on the previous podcast, when this comes out, we got your wife's story on how you two met. What's your story on how you met?
Oh. Yeah. Well, when I found out about her, I became really intrigued right away. I was going to go to university, and she had come down here to go to university. And she was living with my brother and his wife. His wife, Winifred, was, his late wife, Winifred, was her cousin. And back in the days, our family were very close. There were a lot of family dinners, birthdays and celebrations and stuff. So, we were really mingled a lot. And I got to meet Delia over a family dinner or a party. And well, that's amazing. You come from a village of 200 people in northern BC, and very remote at that, like 100 kilometers to the nearest town.
Gas station.
not even a city, but a town.
I know.
Oh, well, you got a lot of guts. That's amazing. Mm-hmm. I really admired the courage to uproot, not even close to her family, not even like a block away from her family, but, like 800 miles away.
Yeah.
So that really intrigued me, and then started telling me about her culture and her family and her traditions. So, wow. So, in a way, I thought, well, you're a real Indian. Not a city Indian like me. I got nothing, practically nothing down here compared to what you have. There were still full on living a traditional way of life, and that really intrigued me. Their culture is a lot different than our Squamish culture that we weren't really allowed to live. Yeah, and wow, this is like a 360-degree turn here. They're so full on in their culture, and very, very supportive of one another. And you know, as the year went on, the school year went on, her parents came down to visit her several times. I thought, holy cow! So you're driving 800 miles. Like my father-in-law would drive straight through, 16-hour drive to come and see his daughter.
Wow.
Really?
And support her. You know, really
Wow.
really awesome. No? You know, when we have dinner, like he'd come down here and go for dinner and talk to me, and he must have thought, wow, what a stupid kid. You know nothing about your culture. You can't speak your language. You know nothing about your spirituality. And why do you want to go with my daughter? He's a very direct person.
Chester, yeah.
So, yeah.
His name was Chester?
Chester Moore.
Chester Moore, yeah.
His real name is Samogan High Mass, or Chief High Mass, his traditional name. And, you know, as I got to learn more about him, I said, wow, this man his name actually means Chief of Chiefs. And when I went to live up there, I could just see the respect of all the other chiefs. You know, some people like to get up and talk, and they're kind of just blabbing. When he got up, like the whole room and quiet, you know, a room full of 500 people would just go in quiet, and they'd lean in. They'd want to hear his words.
Yeah.
You know, I can say, hi, how are you? OCM, Tanoya, Tano and CM and CIA. And, you know, that's it. You know, he could get up and speak for half an hour. And a really good public speaker, too, you know. You get up and tell jokes and tell a story, tell a legend. And then, you know, he more or less ended up saying, listen, my friends, this is the direction that we are going to take.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't, I think we should go this way. So we should go this way. This is the direction that we need to go. And his cousin, James Gosnell, was at the time the leader of all the Nisga'a people.
Yeah, yes.
And he was such a commanding speaker. So, like a government official might come in, speak to an audience of a few hundred people, and say, Mr. Chairman, I have to tell you, I'm fed up with this man. He's not telling the truth to us. This is not the way to go. We need to do better. And, very direct leaders. I really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I really admired them for their forcefulness. And that's why today they have one of the few treaties in BC. In the Squamish Nation, we don't even have a treaty yet, but they do.
That's right, yes.
Yeah.
We have a prayer agreement.
And their leader that they had was Frank Calder, who was the first elected Indigenous man as an MLA for the province of BC.
Wow.
Yeah, he can be like James at times, but also very eloquent. Says, Mr. Chairman, I have something to share with you. Our people have been here for thousands of years, and we have followed this way of life. And this is the way of life that we want to continue. We don't need your education to teach us how to behave. We need our teachings to do this. He's a very, very eloquent man, and I really enjoyed. Well, I enjoyed leadership for one thing, and I learned a lot from them.
They sound like a really strong people.
Very, very strong. They're amazing.
Mhm.
You know, in our community, there's probably a handful of people that can get up and make a good speech. Up there, they have dozens of people. Amazing. Very eloquent at times, very passionate at times. Wow, these guys are going to win. You know, they got the drive. They got the drive to do that. They got the belief in themselves.
When did you move up there?
I think 1981. Yeah, that was the year I met Delia. Moved up there in 1981. Yeah.
And when you get there, like, what's going through your mind? Like, what's the story?
You just moved to the bush.
Yeah. What's the story?
Well, I've been really impressed by Delia's parents who had come down to visit us. And they're a very structured society. And there are very few at the top of the food chain. You know, a lot of them that are in line, they'll be the next future leader. They groom their leaders up there for one thing. And so we went to a public meeting. You know, several of the men chiefs would speak and very eloquent, very passionate. But as I got to learn, their women are probably just as powerful as the men. They're not up there speaking all the time, but they're probably leading you to get up there and share these words with them.
Yeah.
Tell them this is the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're listening, they're paying attention.
I really admired that though.
Yeah.
Well, these women have a lot at stake here. The women can bear children, but men can't.
Yeah.
Men would be just so much you guys scratching their heads on a tree. You know, but the women give people a reason to be and take care of each other. So they're pretty careful about grooming their next in line. There might be a head chief and they're 60 years old, but they're grooming the 10 years old. And so when I got up there, I said, well, all these men are speaking. And I better say something too. And so I developed my public speaking skills so I could share something.
Really?
And, so we always knew we would move back here to North Vancouver to live after we got married. I realized her aunties were so close to Delia, so wanting her to be a good person, a smart person, and so they really encouraged her a lot. Delia is a good public speaker. If she gets up and speaks, she can speak really well. Even back when early 20s, she can speak very well. Her father had groomed her, or her aunts had groomed her, and they're very. There are definitely male and female roles up there, and the women are so important. And I can't say that I witnessed a woman being abused, like, you know, in a group of people. You know, a lady speaks up, and then, you know, down here, a lot of the guys would get up and make fun of her and put her down for speaking up. Who do you think you are for speaking like that? Right. But up there, they encourage their women to speak. And they really, as Dilly was saying, tensions-wise, support each other, lift each other up. rather than put people down. I said, well, they're more native than we are. We're so city-like. We've just, to me, we've lost so much.
Colonization, assimilation into Western society was much more prevalent in our community.
Oh, we're way more colonized than the Nishka are.
Do you think that that reflects why you experience them treating women differently here as opposed to up there? That they took those colonized behaviors down here more?
Well, a lot of colonial behaviors are so toxic, I find, especially in the Catholic Church. Up there, they're more cultural. They know that, well, you don't speak down to your matriarchs, your older ladies of the village. They're way more nurturing of their culture. Down here, it's like a lot of the women are so colonized there. I find a lot of women toxic, actually. So when I met Delia, I said, wow, that's a much better way of behaving and how to navigate through life. Because of their culture, they have to, they do have to support each other. So if someone is putting on a potlatch, it's usually the women that are running it. And they have a lot at stake there to train themselves and to train the next generation of people. Down here, we don't have that type of culture where we support each other. They're more likely to be toxic than.
Do you think at one time the community did, though?
Our community?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like I was saying, I went to the Longhouse when I was 13. I saw a different way of behaving. And there's no drinking in our ceremonials in our Longhouse. The people are much better behaved, partly because of that, but partly because they're constantly teaching each other how to navigate through life, how to be a better person in life. And I've always enjoyed that. We have tried to pass the culture on to our children, and I would say they're matriarchs more than a lot of women who lived in our community for decades. But my daughters are more traditional. They're more modern too, But they know that when they're in ceremony, this is what has to be accomplished in this ceremony, and this is how we get the job done.
Yeah.
They know the work, and they're serious about it when they are in ceremony. They carry out those traditions in the ways that they've been taught, those traditional ways, eh?
Yeah, they're more following, I guess you could say old school. So they learn the right ways to do it, and they don't try to change it or try to modernize things, try to make things better.
Colonize it?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I always see when I started attending like really traditional ceremony and going into walking that path, right, sun dancing and things. When I started to come to other things here, and they were calling it ceremony, it was just quite performative. And I didn't feel that it had that, like I started to see the difference between, again, what was traditional and what was something different than that.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they don't have buffet tables when you go to traditional feasts. They serve you, and you sit, and everybody eats at the same time, and it's there's a real preying on the food and the traditional things.
Yeah.
There's a lot of subtle differences between that. Eh?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I like that my wife's family makes a big effort to come and visit Delia and to spend time with their nieces and nephews. And when we do go home for a ceremony, then they make sure my children are sitting in a place where they're not just observing, but taking part and being part of the ceremony.
Experiencing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
immersed.
down here it can be a show. Whereas up there, you got to pay attention and know what's going on and know when it's your turn to, when it's your turn to lead and when it's your turn to follow.
Right.
What?
Ah.
Yeah. What do you want? Sorry, I got
You got distracted?
spiritually distracted there for a second.
What would you like to be a guest on our Storytellers? Because all you have to do to connect with us is just email info@ourstorytellers.ca, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. That sounds like a voicemail, which I think is hilarious. But if you email us, we'll give you a call and we'll listen to your story and we'll probably film it. So please reach out to us if you're interested in being a guest, because we love to share stories from all walks of life, from all different experiences. We think that everybody's story is valuable and that you can learn from anybody's story. So please email us and we'll schedule a call with you as soon as we can. That also sounds like a voicemail, but back to the podcast.
Do you want? What do you want my generation and Indigenous youth to start actioning today, or changing today?
I would like to see more people learn and practice their culture. Culture is not something we can learn from a book. It takes years and years of practice to be able to train yourself to go through life in a certain way, and feel that Canadian society has very little to offer us. It's kind of hard to follow a certain role, certain teachings, and the Catholic Church tries to teach us one way, but they're the ones that killed their God. We never killed any of our spiritual people. We never killed our God. But it's a different way of teaching from what I want to do anyways. And I would really encourage the younger people to learn their language as much as they can. It's taken me a lifetime, and I know very little of my language, but I know a lot of my culture, and I practice a lot of my culture. But if I knew my language, it would help me a lot to go through life. See a lot of people acting like they're better than other people, but maybe for the younger people, they're not better than anybody. And certainly not better than our ancestors. Our ancestors had been here for thousands of years without the help of a church or a public school system. I don't feel that our ancestors abused each other the way people do nowadays, and the sense of community, I think, is so important. It's just in general in Canadian society, you know, they have prisons, they have court systems. Our people never had a court system, but they had a way of life. It's not to say that they weren't bad people, but it's such a public way. I went to a Longhouse and some person had abused another person, and everybody knew about it. But just several people got up and said, "You know better than this. You shouldn't have done this activity." It's just all out in the open. Whereas in Canadian society, people sneak around and steal from one another and abuse each other.
Hide behind confidentiality laws.
Yeah, really. A lot of times they hide behind their laws.
Yeah.
Whereas in our traditional society, everything was out in the open, and I think people were more honest in that time, more living according to a code of law, a code of conduct.
Right.
What does ceremony mean to you?
Well, when we got married, for example, they had a potlatch for me in Delia, and
Yeah.
a lot of aunties got up and gave some really good advice to us how to go through life. But more than just telling us what to do, they're living examples of exactly what they told us, how we should conduct each other towards each other, be respectful of the community values. So ceremony is a way of teaching. It's not all about singing and dancing, for example, but it's more an opportunity. And one thing that they say in ceremony is that when the ceremony begins, school is now in session. Pay attention. and if someone sees you a couple of days later doing something that's not quite right, they can come up to you. You knew better. We were both at that ceremony. You know better than this. And so you can get called out at any time. And down here, everybody's so isolated. There's no one to point out your mistakes, or else they won't say anything.
Right.
Whereas when things are all out in the open and people can stop you at any time of day, if you're just having to be walking down the street and said, "Latash, what are you doing?" And just call you right out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. It keeps you on the straight and narrow and living a good life.
It's, yeah. Is there anything that you wish that we would have asked you that we didn't ask you?
I just wish that I spoke my own language, and I wish I could talk to you in my language. One thing that's I learned to love the songs of my people. 1993, we paddled from here to Bella Bella. It's about 200 or 300 miles up the coast from where we live. And, we put a lot of training into it. And our coach, our mentor, so these are different water conditions we can get into, the weather or the tide. And we got to rely on each other. There's only going to be 11 of us in that canoe on that day. And you got to rely on each other. You got to really support each other. And if you're in the canoe, you got to be paddling. You're not going to be a tourist.
You can't sit watch.
Make sure you work. And, it's a good lesson for life, actually. Work with your family, support your family. I wish that our family was more cultural. I wish that I see other families that are cultural and they're celebrating things all through the year, birthdays or anniversaries, but also celebrating. We just had a ceremony. It's more or less like a coming out ceremony for our baby. She's 3 months old, and have a ceremony to introduce her to the family. These are your aunties, your uncles, these are your cousins. We're not just introducing them to them, but we're introducing you to our baby because you can teach our baby something. You can be a mentor to our grandson. And so it kind of puts a little bit of pressure on them too. Well, you can't be a drunk and be a mentor. You got to be walk a straight line. In order for me to have you in my baby's life, I got to know that you're a good person. I don't think a lot of that goes around anymore. And my brothers and sisters are free to share any lessons with my children at any time. So, but I got to rely on them. They got to be by my side. They got to have my back. If I'm going to trust them enough to speak to my children, then you got to live a good life. It's the standard that we have to maintain. I don't like to preach, but I'd say don't come to my house if you're drinking. I don't need that in my life. You're putting yourself at danger, but you're putting my grandchildren at danger too. And I can't risk that. Life is hard enough without you bringing grief upon yourself.
Right.
Anything else?
Oh. I'm a better journalist than a storyteller.
Isn't
always
that
been
kind
good
of
with
the same
questions.
thing?
I've always been good with questions.
Who?
I have always been good with questions.
You've always been good with questions.
Yeah, I really enjoy meeting people, learning a little bit about their life story, and share that with other people. Share those lessons.
I can't agree more. I think you and I share that.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you want to dedicate this to anybody?
Well, I'd like to dedicate this to my grandchildren. I have 3 grandchildren. We have Isaiah, Wakaiston, and Eolia. I'll dedicate and share these few words with them. They're my everything. I never got to meet my grandparents. I learned very little about them. But I did get to meet Delia's grandparents, and it's just so fortunate if you can spend time with older people and learn a little bit from their life journey. And most people tend to want the best for the next generation, to share something of value to them, and that's what I like to do, is to share the little bit of wisdom that I have with younger people, and maybe avoid some of the mistakes. And I've made mistakes in my life, and when you get older and you reflect on the mistakes of your life, and why did I do that? And I just like to share stories with young people and give them a chance to avoid some mistakes that happen to us in life. Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing with us today. It means so much. I'm very grateful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, really appreciate you coming today, Uncle, and sharing stories, talking about our family, and just giving some beautiful insight into some of the work that you've done over the years. Really appreciate it. I know as your niece, I've seen in like a lot of the jobs that you did, like I said, sharing the newspapers. We'd get our Plateau sent, and and just kind of over the years, just I've gotten lots of good advice. And when I asked you to come and help my family, you guys came and you brought the kids, and those were really important times. Keeping that connection and closeness.
Well, it was really beautiful when you came into the world, Yvonne, and my parents took me to visit you so often. And, that really taught me a lot, Sometimes I had the responsibility of looking after you for a few hours during the day. But, it was a valuable lesson.
Yeah.
So care for your fellow human beings that we have the fortunate to share part of our journey with, and so valuable because I was youngest in the family at the time, and then you became the youngest. And
yeah, we're very close in age, really, from our generations touch really closely. Because I think I was one of the only that actually knew our grandparents, knew your parents.
Yeah.
So I don't think many of the children after my brother and sister, there weren't a lot born before both grandparents were gone by then.
Yeah, probably just Calvin.
Yeah, that's right. Bobby had Calvin. He's close in age. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
That was a good time in our life for me.
For the babies coming and the next generation was beginning, eh? And I remember the big Christmas parties at the house. Grandma and Grandpa would have like a huge meal and
big Christmas dinner.
Big giant tree in the middle of the living room.
Yeah.
So I remember those images, those times as a really small child.
Yeah, you're fortunate.
Yeah. So
like I said, I never met my grandparents. So
exactly.
I had no idea what that experience would be like.
Yeah. So I really feel very fortunate out of this generation to have, touched our grandparents' time and been.
They made a big effort for you.
They did. They did.
We visited you a lot, or you were at our place visiting. That was awesome.
Yeah, because I think Mom and Dad came anytime they called, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they ignored the Indian agents and came anyways.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I think with Mom's enfranchisement, they tried to keep people apart, but it didn't stop them from making sure that they stayed connected.
It was a real, I don't know, evil thing that the Indian agents would do, keeping families apart.
Yeah.
But my parents made a big effort to see their grandchildren. That was really important to them.
Absolutely.
To, yeah.
They were definitely pretty good times. I remember coming over and Grandpa would always send him to go and pick up chicken and root beer.
Yeah, yeah.
Big bucket of chicken, big jug of root beer. So it was always, I remember those times. It was great.
Maybe I'll go get us some chicken and root beer.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do that. Maybe let's do that for family.
For potluck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be.
So what do you do when you're not filmmaking?
Me?
Yeah.
I run a team of Indigenous recruiters in healthcare.
Okay.
And just do my best.
Yeah.
In general. Yeah.
We work for the Vancouver Health Board, me and Delia.
Yeah.
Sit on the board, we provide advice about Indigenous people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're lucky to have you, both of you, 100%. 100%. If you ever want to come work for Fraser Health, you just let me know.
Okay. Yeah. That would be awesome.
Uh-huh.
That's where our family is from, Fraser Valley.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to turn these cameras off because I'm going to run out of memory in these bad boys. But thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, thank you.
And you know where I am now, so let me know if you need anything. I'm just a quick drive away.